We're here again looking at some presentation and questions and answers. So today is the 5th meeting that we have, and I thought that I gathered all your questions and we're going to answer them. So what are we going to do today? Today we're going to meet Heather and a family, and after presenting Heather, I would like you, because we have been presenting all kinds of exercises and things that you can do with your child in lockdown at home, okay, and use household gadgets and household appliances. So I want you to become a bit more active, and I'm going to present Heather, and then I would like you to suggest exercises that Heather and her family can do. And we're going to address those questions at the end of the presentation after we do some questions and answers, okay? So first I want to present Heather. She's 41 years of age, and her gross motor ability is, according to her family, is total wheelchair dependency. She has no manual abilities, no verbal communication, but of course, her family understands her signals. In regards to adapted equipment at home, she has soft hand splints. She has a ceiling mounted lift and a wheelchair. And her physical therapy goals to keep hands and arms as flexible as possible. And most difficult physical activity at home now is her arms and legs are very tight. It's very difficult to dress her because due to the lockdown, the family does not have a caregiver who comes and help them. She has a very tight neck muscles, and whenever she's moved, she's very strongly leaning to the right. You can see her head in the picture as it is turning to the right. And dressing is very difficult for the family. So this is Heather. I want you to think about Heather. You're going to see her in this presentation a couple of times, and I want you to start suggesting exercises that the family can do with Heather. Okay, so she has fear of movement. The moment you move her in bed, she's very tight, leaning to the right. So maybe you can come up with some nice exercises for Heather and her family. So we're going to address your suggestions at the end of this presentation. So we'll start with the questions and answers. And one of the questions asked by one of the parents viewing the previous presentation was, can you show stretches that can be done with wheelchair users while they are in their chairs? So first I wanted to show you something I've done, stretching of hamstrings, which is the muscle that extends the hip and flexes the knees in a standing frame. So this is a girl with Rett syndrome, and as you can see, she has hamstring is over here, okay, at the back of the hip, and it's short for her. So this is a way to stretch this muscle when she's standing. Okay, these rubber bands that you see here are meant to keep the fingers pointing towards the ceiling, because if we don't have the toes pointed towards the ceiling, then actually we're not stretching the right muscle. So here she is standing. This is the other direction, and you can see she's not in stress or anything. Her leg is actually on the pillow, and this is how she looks from behind. Okay, you see one leg is straight towards the ground, and the other one is pointing forward. The good thing, the positive thing about this exercise is that we know girls with Rett syndrome don't like to work hard. So when she's in this position, she's trying to lean forward on the table. The thing is that when she's trying to lean forward on the table, she's actually forward tilting her pelvis, actually stretching the hamstring. So she's going down to rest, stretches the hamstrings, so she comes up back up again straight. So she's actually doing a very nice active stretching for herself because of the fact that she doesn't want to work hard and she wants to lean down on the table. So this is one idea that you can use. Okay, and now we're going to talk about using wheelchair to stretch hamstrings. This is another possibility. This is a box, and on this box we have the end part of an AFO attached to it. And if you put the child in a wheelchair and you put the leg inside this, on this box, you actually also give a little stretch. It's not a lot, but it's a little stretch to this hamstring muscles, and you can change legs. So one day you can stretch the right one and the next day the left one. So this is another way of doing it. And we're going to see, this is Heather and Leslie, her mother, and they are suggesting another way. We started talking about it last week in the presentation about using the ceiling hoist, the ceiling lift to do stretches, and this is.
So I have the two TheraBands. One is wrapped right under her heel, and the other is
what they
wide.
did here is they use TheraBands. It doesn't have to be TheraBands, but as you can see, they can get the TheraBands under the heel. I would actually, to stretch hamstrings, I would put the other one under the shin instead of the knee because I want the knee as straight as possible. But as you can see, this is a very nice exercise to stretch the hamstring. Now Leslie is showing where the hamstring is, and then she is raising the lift. See, there's no stretch on the person doing the exercise, and it can be done for long duration. Now Heather is actually showing that it's too much for her, so Leslie will take it down. But this is a way that you can stretch the hamstrings without any strain on the people doing the exercise, and you can do it for a long duration, which is very important when you do stretches. Another way of using the wheelchair to do stretches is, for instance, if you have a wheelchair that the back reclines very very strongly. Okay, in this wheelchair, you can see that the back is actually completely reclined, and this man is stretching himself. So this is one way. If you have a fully reclined back wheelchair, then you can actually let the child rest and stretch her a bit. This is something that I've shown in the past presentations. This is something that I've built for this girl with Rett syndrome. And again, you can see on her face that she's not in distress or anything. This is a wooden board, cloth that go beneath the arms and are locked behind the board. So actually, if you have this board, and you can actually use it also in the wheelchair. You can put this wooden board that is behind the girl on the wheelchair, and you can do those stretches as well. And another way of doing it, again, we're going to look at Heather and her family, and we can see this is her father's shirt, and we're actually using her father's shirt since Heather is flexing her elbows much of the time. So this is a way to use a big shirt to do stretches of the anterior part of the chest. And if Heather would be placed a bit further, then actually the stretch would be towards the back, and then she would stretch all this area. Another thing that you can do with the lift is kind of get it up and down again. So actually, you can do those exercises passively, but it means that Heather is getting almost full range of motion, and also this is a nice way to reduce fear of movement, because Heather is showing a serious fear of movement. And this is why, as I presented at the beginning of the presentation, the moment you move her, she's tightening up on the right side. So this is one question: how do we do stretches in a wheelchair? Another very interesting question was, one of the mothers wrote to me, when we walk outside, my daughter makes frequent stops and rests her head on me like she's struggling. When I asked her what was bothering her, she pointed to dizzy. What could be causing dizziness while walking? Well, actually, this is a very interesting question, and this is a girl with Rett syndrome, and we, in many cases, we see that this is how they walk. They take 2-3 steps, and then they stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and they stop. Okay, they walk and they stop. They walk and they stop. So this mother asking me the question raised a very interesting issue, because we see it a lot. Okay, so what could be causing dizziness for girls with Rett syndrome while walking? Well, we know that this is how you get postural control. Okay, you move. Okay, your body moves, and while you move, you get a lot of information from the skin, from the proprioceptive system, from the vestibular system, and from your eyes. Okay, and all this information goes back. It's being processed, and you keep on moving with this new information coming back to you. But the thing about girls with Rett syndrome is that we know that they have problems in the proprioceptive system, which causes apraxia and which causes delayed reaction and everything. But we also know that information processed by the eyes is also a problem in Rett syndrome. So I'm going to show you a video of this woman. She's in her 40s with Rett syndrome. She talks, and she's going down the stairs, and I'm asking her about going down the stairs. I translated the conversation. She told next time I told you to take her. Last time you told me to take off your glasses. So you want me to take off the glasses? So she's looking at her mom, and I'm saying, don't look at your mom. Think by yourself. And I'm saying, do you want me to take off your glasses? And she says yes. And later on, when we continued shooting, she was saying, why is it your biggest pride? Yes, because I can see the floor. And actually, she was asking me to take off her glasses. And she's saying that she's afraid of going down the stairs because she can see the floor. So if we can connect all those dots, so we know that some girls with Rett syndrome walk and stop. Okay, some people call it getting dizzy, some call it getting stuck, some call it dystonic problems, some say they start and stop again, walk only a few steps every time. So we have a lot of names for the same phenomena. Okay, girls with Rett syndrome are walking and then something happens and they kind of get stuck. So if I'm taking all this information eyes, so as you see, this girl have said that it is caused by sensory integration mismatch. I mean, the girl is walking. She is supposed to get information from the eyes, from the vestibular system, the proprioceptive, and the skin. But she's telling me to take off her glasses because what's making her afraid is the fact that she can see. And we know that her proprioceptive system is also affected in Rett syndrome. And we also know that the vestibular system uses proprioceptive and visual input to take out the vestibular input. So actually we have three systems in charge of postural control in Rett syndrome, and those systems actually don't work in uh, the right way. Okay, the child is walking and then gets all those mixed, unclear messages and gets stuck. Okay, we all and I heard a girl in Australia who was saying that when standing on the edge of the staircase looks like I'm standing at the edge of a cliff. So we know from a few sources that the eyes are that the information from the eyes is not very solid. Okay, um, so it seems that movement disturbances in Rett syndrome are due to sensory dysregulation and processing issues. So this is why they kind of get stuck. They start moving, information comes in, the information is not clear, and they get stuck. Okay, so uh, we have problems in the eyes. And so, okay, so what can we do? Okay, this is some things that we can do. Okay, wear sunglasses when going down the stairs and taking a walk. Okay, so this is kind of blurring the information to the eyes. Another way is to stand in front of the girl, at least when going down the stairs, so she can see us and not look down at the stairs. Okay. Another possibility is to take long walks on a treadmill or elliptical. Um, okay, treadmill and the elliptical machine. Okay, because this means that when they are walking spontaneously, they can stop. But this means that the information keeps going in very skewed. But if we do long walks, then the information keeps coming in and it gives the child the possibility to kind of realign the information. Actually, in the research that we did on treadmill training, when we checked walking abilities of girls with Rett syndrome after 2 months of daily training on treadmill, we found out that they have significantly improved their speed of walking. So kind of get them prolonged walking, okay, in a prolonged walking situations. Use elastic suits to enhance proprioceptive input. We know that you have, this is the Adeli suit, but there are other suits like this, like the Gravistat is something that they use in Poland, and Theratogs is something that they use in the States, and they have many names for it. But these suits that you see in this picture right now, it gives a lot of proprioceptive input. So actually, we're enhancing the proprioceptive input, making it maybe, I don't know, because we haven't, more information for the brain to use, and maybe it becomes clearer. Okay, we also know that in a few case studies where I tried Theratogs with girls with Rett syndrome, we found out that it helped them in their walking abilities. Another way is to use weighted vests, okay? Weighted vest or ankle weights, which means that they get, again, more proprioceptive input. I chose this picture specifically because this is a girl who is using a weighted vest, but it actually, as you can see, it is presented as a regular vest, so no problem in wearing this outside. So you get it on yourself, it looks like a regular vest, but you get more input because of the weights inside. Another way is jumping on a trampoline or a peanut and getting more proprioceptive input. And another way is to walk barefoot on sand or grass, which enhances tactile messages. So what we're actually talking about is, if we get sunglasses, then we actually reduce the information that we get from the eyes. We enhance the information from the proprioceptive system, and we give also support from the tactile system. So maybe all these ways will help girls with Rett syndrome walk more, okay, and stop less, and maybe will not get so dizzy as this girl has reported to her mother. This is a new question, and somebody wrote, I would like to know what is the best program to increase balance. Our daughter, which is 9 years old, could do some independent steps until 4 years of age, but even then, she had poor balance and could not stand independently more than a few seconds. She also got fear of falling and since then was with assistance. She really liked dance, but we haven't found a way to help her be more independent. So if we look at children without any disabilities, okay, they learn to walk at the age of 1 year old, but they only get adult walking ability at the age of 7 or 8. So this means that it takes a regular child who walks along, who runs along, who go to the playground and climbs all those uh, uh, things in the playground. This child needs 6 to 7 years to get the right amount of sensory input and training to function, to have a balanced system that functions as an adult. And we know our girls with Rett syndrome, they don't have even the 10th of this duration of training. Okay, so we need to enhance the way that they are trained. So uh, I summarize the question. I would like to know what is the best program to increase balance. So first of all, never stop trying. Okay, get as much exercise for your child as possible. And this means that if she's sitting on the sofa watching television, she might sit on a stool and watch television. Okay. Uh, if she's sitting unsupported on a moving surface, and the moving surface could be a vestibular plate, it could be an air cushion, it could be a balance board, it doesn't matter. Just as long as she's sitting and moving, she's working all the time. And this is how you get her to be at her top. Now we're going a bit, uh, we're enhancing the challenge. Okay, standing unsupported. So this picture is of a child with old AFOs. Okay, now the thing about AFOs, and I've talked about them many times, AFOs are made by individual order. Okay, so every time a child is growing up, he needs a new set of AFOs, and the old AFOs are just lying there. So mostly in every rehabilitation center, you will find a ton of old AFOs that they don't use. So if you go to your therapist and ask, do you have any old AFOs that I can use? Then you can take those old AFOs, attach them to a wooden board, and make those AFO standing frame. And in this picture, you see a child that the AFOs is under his knees. So the knees, the hips, and everything above the knees is actually, he's holding his body by himself. He's standing without any support except for something, in this case, the AFOs that holds his shins. Okay, so if we get, so if you can get hold of these AFOs, when I was in Russia, this parent showed me something very similar to this, but he used to ski boots. Okay, so this is a similar way. Actually, I think that the ski boots are much more expensive and more difficult to put the leg inside, but this is what they use. They took old ski boots and they attached it to a wooden board, and this was the standing frame for their daughter. So old ski boots, old boots, old AFOs, something that gives very little support but enables your child to stand for a long duration without being supported. You know, she can look at the video or a cartoon or anything. Again, treadmill training is very is another way, and I specifically chose this picture because if you can see, this girl here is actually standing inside a walker, okay? And this walker is placed over a treadmill. So again, this you can walk with your child for many hours a day, but actually the thing that reduces the time, the training time of every child is actually the fact that manpower is always not enough. We don't have enough time. So again, this is a way, if you have a treadmill and you can have a walker or a walking frame put on two sides of the treadmill or on the treadmill and held down with some strings or anything, then you can have the child walking on the treadmill for long durations, watching cartoon, watching videos, watching her favorite program, and doing it for long durations of time. Another way, if we have a girl that is already walking and we want to enhance her ability, we can use an obstacle course. In this picture, you see this is a picture from the research that is now done and performed in Italy. And this girl with the blue coat is actually standing here, and her parents sitting on the sofa are calling her, and she's supposed to go between all those chairs and go towards them. So this is how she's controlling her body. So this is another way to get child walking uh, and challenged by movement that she that makes her control her body. This is the same girl, and this is another way of making an obstacle course at home. Okay, so you see, I'm taking yoga mattresses, putting them on the floor, and then underneath here, you can see we can use dolls, socks, shirts, pillows, all kinds of things that makes this an uneven walking surface. And you can see I'm holding her. This pillow is a bit too big, so I have to help her. But the moment she's on it, you can see I'm not holding her hands, I'm holding her trunk. Okay. Keep on dancing is very important. I mean, and again, don't hold the girl's hands when you dance, because this means that she will be supported by external facilitation. She will be supported using the hands and not use her core muscles, which this is what we're looking for. We're looking for girls who are activating their core muscles and thereby getting more balance. So keep on dancing. You can start very slow and gradually you make it faster and more intense. Okay, walk on uneven terrain. Okay, and again, we see a girl from the Italian research, and she's walking in the yard of her house, and you can see that I'm not holding her hands, I'm holding her the belt of her coat, and then I can put my hand in front of her shoulders just in case, just to be safe. But she's walking on uneven terrain, which is another way to support. The basic thing is, and it's something that Dr. Uh, Ellison Kerr once said in one of the conference, walking with Rett syndrome is being without being there. So you need to keep the child safe, but without the child knowing that you are there. So it's not about giving her support, it's about keeping her safe. So you can see that you have a lot of solutions which depend on the child's on how big the child is. So for small children, you can have those kind of straps. This is a transfer belt, and it is only holding her trunk. And this is a more intense uh, transfer belt where you can hold with two hands. So the main idea is to just hold it as a safety belt, not to let the child know that you are there holding the belt. So she actually thinks that she needs to support her body and maintain upright posture while you're actually there holding it. So she's working and you're working, but the thing is that she's not leaning on you. She's actually doing a balance by herself. Another question was how to help my girl to place her feet better when she walks, uh, and how to have better equilibrium. We see that this question comes popping up again. So again, you can see one way is to walk across uneven terrain, maybe a spring or on grass, or maybe walk on sand, walk on the beach with the waves coming in and giving input, wearing ankle weights so you can actually feel your leg. And another thing is, this is reflexology sandals. I've never tried them, but I've suggested to families a couple of times to use them. So actually, what you see is actually the girl is walking on rebels. She's walking on little stones. And so this gives you a lot of sensory tactile input from the feet. Now the thing is that if the girl is not very happy using them, maybe don't throw them away. Maybe you can have a very thin cardboard or a thin layer of foam on those pebbles. So actually the girl can walk, she can feel those stones under her feet, but it's not very intense. The sensory input is not very intense, but intense enough to give more input than a regular shoe. So this is all kinds of ways that you can increase input for the girl. Another question that was asked was how to manage to make my daughter bending down independently, like squats. What are the main exercise here? So first of all, I want to say that the thing we talked about, postural stability and postural control of girls with Rett syndrome, and we know this is the most difficult thing. It's very difficult for girls with Rett syndrome to maintain their postural control. And many girls, the first thing that the first function that many girls with Rett syndrome lose is the ability to do transition. Transitions is changing from lying on the floor to sitting down, from sitting down to knee standing, from knee standing to half kneeling, from half kneeling to standing, from standing to sitting down, and those kinds of transitions. So obviously we need to get them a lot of experience in this field so they keep their abilities. So the first thing to do is don't do exercises. It does not work. Okay, exercises don't mean anything for girls with Rett syndrome. So if she's walking and watching a video, it means that okay, walking is connected with something that I like to do. I like to do walking. If she's going up the stairs to have a bath and she likes to have a bath, then walking up the stairs is connected with something that she likes. So it becomes it doesn't stay an exercise, it becomes something that I like to do. And this is very important in girls with Rett syndrome, that we connect things that we want them to do with things that they like to do. So for instance, in this video, you see a very young girl, and I'm trying to improve her balance. So as you can see, she's standing on a vestibular plate, and in the vestibular plate, there is a stool, and she's standing on the stool in the vestibular plate, which is very difficult. I want you to, I'm not sure that I advise you to try it at home, but it's very difficult. Now, I want her to improve her postural balance. So instead of telling her to squat or to go down, I'm telling her to take her loved doll. This is Minnie, and she really likes her Minnie doll.
Minnie.
Okay, so because she likes the doll, and also in the background there is music that she really likes because her older sisters are hearing this music over and over again. So I'm singing with the song and telling her to get the doll. So she's going down, taking the doll when she's standing on a stool inside the vestibular plate. So as you can see, this requires a lot of coordination. Okay, so the thing to do is to insert, uh, I don't want to call it exercise, but activities into daily situation. For instance, getting on and off the mattress. For instance, if I insert into the daily schedule playing on the floor with siblings or with other classmates, then this becomes something that she's doing every day. So every day she's going down to the floor, plays a bit, and then she gets up. So we have an exercise of going down the floor. Okay, for instance, if we have stairs inside the house, okay, so in most houses, the bedrooms are upstairs and the living room and kitchen is downstairs. So what happens is that you go down once a day. Okay, then the girl is going to school or to kindergarten, and then she comes back. She's in the first floor, and then when they when dinner is finished, she's going upstairs. She's getting washed and then going to bed. So if you just change this schedule, and let's say she has a tablet which she watches videos on or cartoons on, and you put the tablet on the second floor. So when she's going down the stairs in the morning, she's going to the school, she's coming back, going up the stairs, she's taking the tablet, and then she's watching the tablet. And then instead of eating and then going up to wash, you go up, you wash, you take the shower, you go back down again, and you eat dinner, then you go up again to sleep. So just placing the tablet upstairs and changing the schedule a bit, then instead of getting one once going down the stairs and then going up the stairs once every day, we actually have going down, going up to take the tablet, going down again, going up to wash, going down again, and going up to bed. So actually, instead of one time, we have 3 times going up and down the stairs, and we just slightly change the schedule. Okay. Again, sitting on the chair and getting up again. It could be done with help. It could be done independently. But this is something that can be done every day, because every day she eats at least 3 times. So we have 3 chances of exercising, sitting down, and getting up again. So as long as we're doing it uh, with kind of a therapeutic thinking in our head, we can find all kinds of activities that the child can do throughout the day without actually doing exercise. She's going up to wash, which is something she likes. She's going up to take the tablet, which is something she likes. She's sitting down on the chair because she wants to eat. She's getting up because she has finished eating and now she's going to do other interesting stuff. So this is how you insert all kinds of exercises into the daily situations. Um, I think that the best, because of apraxia, because of the fact that girls with Rett syndrome are having a hard time uh, doing exercises, that the physiotherapist of every child should actually find the best way to perform this exercise, and then get it on video, and then send it to everyone who is working with the girls. So everybody is doing it quite the same way, and the girl get the same messages throughout the training. So this is about exercises throughout the day. And there's another question, and somebody wrote that there are children with Rett syndrome who are very independent. they can walk, they can run independently, they have purposeful hand movement, but they are afraid of new movement. I guess there will be also very challenging exercise for them too. And please give us advice about some advances exercise for them. So you can, I, I put some things that you can do. For instance, this is Fisher Price skates. I don't get any money from Fisher Price. I just like those skates. And the thing is that, as you can see here, you can adapt it to every shoe size. And another thing about those skates is that you can enhance the friction of the wheels. So actually at the beginning, you can make it go very slowly. And another problem when you try to teach a young child to do the skates is that they slide backwards. So those skates have the possibility of preventing backward movement of the wheels. So they can only move forward. So this is one way of doing very extreme things with girls with Rett syndrome. Jumping is another way, and it also gives a lot of proprioceptive input, which we have talked about, and we have mentioned the fact that this is very good to have proprioceptive input. You have balance bicycles. It's the bicycles without the pedals that you just run along, but you still need to direct the bicycle in the right direction. So this is one way. Regular bicycle with pedal and accessory wheels is another option for very high functioning girls with Rett syndrome. Swimming and diving is another option for girls who are very active. There are all kinds of extreme playgrounds that you can take the child. You can go up on the different equipment there and train. Going out to the wild to have some trips, helping out in the house. So setting the table and putting the tablecloth and the plates and the silverware and everything. This is something that a girl with good hand function can do. Cutting the salad is another way. Helping dressing and undressing is another way that a girl with Rett syndrome can help. And also, let's say, helping with the laundry, putting things inside the washing machine, taking things outside of the washing machine, taking things and giving it to mother when she's hanging the laundry after it has been done. So these are all things that can be done with girls who are high functioning. I don't know where this person who asked the question lives, but this is a girl with Rett syndrome who can walk by herself with some support, and here she is. See that her leg is connected to the leg of the ski instructor, so she is skiing. And this girl in the next video here, she doesn't even go walk independently. And this video I cut a few seconds of a 4.5-minute video where actually this girl started at the top of the mountain, and for 4.5 minutes she's been holding this this instrument, and the ski instructor is sliding backwards, and she is practicing skiing on the mountain. Okay, going back to another question. My daughter is 27. She's still mobile, but just started leg spasm, tremor, or dystonia. How can we help? So we're going back to one of the first questions. It sounds like a sensory challenge. So first of all, keep walking. Try pressure suits like we've talked before, the Gravistat, the Spio, the Adeli, the Teratogs. All of them give a lot of proprioceptive sensory input, which might relax the child. Also, as I've mentioned before, use the treadmill. Another way to get a lot of use the treadmill for long walking. Walk in water. Okay, the water gives more information than air. So walking in water inside the pool or at the edge of the at the edge of the sea, getting those water wash your legs. So this is how you get more information. You can also warm your legs with elastic, different kinds of elastic uh, that gives more proprioceptive, and also maybe warm the leg that is uh, causing these uh, those taking those few steps at a time and stiffening up. Another question was, my daughter walks with her left foot turned out and on the edge of the foot. It seems like she is in pain when ambulatory, and she broke her right hip about 15 years ago. First of all, in most cases, when bone is broken, when it mends up again, when it becomes, when it cures, it actually becomes stronger than it was before. So I'm not sure that breaking the hip 15 years ago had something to do with it. But I know of girls who walk on the outer edge of the feet. So this is kind of, so what you need is individually designed orthopedic shoes. This is one shoe. This is a girl that actually walks like your daughter on the of the feet. And this is one shoe that we've made for her. You see, we have, she has a very big side support to prevent her from walking on the side, or at least give her the possibility to walk on the side without sparing the ankle. And this is another individually designed orthopedic shoes. They are very high, and you can see that they are padded inside, so the child can walk on those padded insoles without hurting herself. And we can actually also take care of the fact that she has uneven legs. So this is, I guess, what needs to be done if the child is walking like this. Another question is, my 19-year-old daughter is in a wheelchair and has a dislocated left hip. She moves the left leg fine, but the right leg, she has problems with stiffness. What would you recommend for her PT? So first of all, I think that the PT should do kind of a physical checkup to move the leg and see where you get the stiffness coming up, if it's from the hip or if it's from the knee or the ankle, and see if you can find the joint or the movement that makes the most, I don't know, pain. I think that maybe you should go to an orthopedic surgeon and have both the leg stability, and maybe if you have access to a walking laboratory, it also can be a good idea to see how she's moving. Okay, slings exercise can be performed, as I think we showed it last time, and also at the beginning of this presentation. All kinds of movement with the slings. Uh, if you want to do some pressure wraps around the leg, so maybe it will give more information and she won't have those cramps. Or maybe to reduce the stiffness, use some heating pads on the muscles, and those stiffness episodes will be reduced. Another question is, how can I train my girl to climb down the stairs? She doesn't have any control when going down, but she can go up, but with assistance. So we talked about it earlier. Most girls with Rett syndrome are having difficulty going down the stairs, and going up the stairs is usually not a problem. It is due to visual processing and depth perception issues, as well as motor control of the knees, because it's easier to go up the stairs than going down the stairs. Okay, you need more postural control and more control of over the knees and hips when you're going down the stairs, and this is why it's more difficult. So when going down the stairs, stay close to your child, okay, and at the beginning, and always have one of her hands on the rails. So when she's going down, she will all this will come part of going down the stairs is holding the rail. So eventually at some point we hope that she will be using the rail instead of another person, and then she can become independent. Okay, if she's having a difficulty placing her leg on the next stair, you can use an elastic band that is attached between your knees. So this is a girl that I'm teaching how to go down the stairs. She's also having difficulty going down the stairs. So we have this elastic bandage that I have, and I've made 4 knots in the elastic bandage, and it's connected. My knees are connected to the knees of the child, and I can signal her to flex the knees with my legs. So if I want her left leg to move forward, then I start moving my right leg and starting to cause her to move the left leg, okay, to get her left leg forward, okay, and moving my left leg causes her to move her right leg, and this is how we go down the stairs and gradually uh, and also another issue uh, another issue is okay, at the beginning you need everyone to do the same way. So because girls with Rett syndrome have difficulty learning new tasks because of the apraxia, then you should ask your physiotherapist to find the best way of doing stair descending, and then have a video of it, and then everyone can do it in the same way, okay? Uh, Take the time for her to take the steps. So don't rush the girl to go down the stairs. Do it as slowly as possible so she's not being surprised by sudden moves, okay? Uh, so we said that at the beginning you give a lot of support, and with time you give less and less assistance and less support, okay? Another issue is motivation. If downstairs her favorite video is playing, it become easier for her to go down. So her favorite sibling, her favorite classmate, her favorite caregiver, her favorite grandmother, grandfather, her favorite video, anything that she wants to, anything that you know that will encourage her to go down the stairs should be downstairs, because then it will be easier for her to do the task that you're actually asking her to do. And because girls with Rett syndrome are very emotional and it's very important to them. The social input is very important to them. You should make a fuss about her going down the stairs, and you take videos and you send it to her teachers and her grandparents and her sisters and brothers, and everybody will look at the video and say, wow, we saw you going down the stairs, and you were doing it so well, and this will make her very proud of herself and maybe less resistant to going down the stairs again. Okay, when walking our daughter, which walks with supervision and stands with assistance, she autos severely through tibia. She's almost 21 years old. So you might try teratogs. Okay, this is a picture. I want to make sure that you understand that this picture is for the other side. So this is a girl who is okay, and this in-towing is actually coming from the hips. So they're using teratogs to do external rotation of the hip and to get better alignment. So you can do the same uh, do the same with your daughter, but to the other direction. Another thing is that this type of walk, going in towing, is also a way to walk when you have shortened Achilles tendon. So maybe you should take the child to an orthopedic surgeon to test, or to your physiotherapist to check length of the Achilles tendon. And I think that since it's only a part of the leg. It's only from the shin. And since she's 21 years old, I think that maybe she will have difficulty tolerating such changes because all the muscles and bones and everything is already twisted in this position. But you can try it. It's not painful, and maybe it can work. I don't know. This is this is the final part of the presentation, the questions and answers. It's been an hour. I want to ask we should continue with the questions and answers, or ask people if they have some suggestions for us and on the way to work with Heather, or we don't have any suggestions from people.
Yeah. Meir, thank you so much. That was great information. Thank you for responding to the questions. I think we definitely see some trends with our kids, and you have given a variety of ways to overcome a lot of issues for the kids across the spectrum. We have some questions that have come into the queue. Some are specifically, I think, we should ask once we meet Heather and Leslie, and some are questions that have come up based on the questions you just addressed in your slides. So why don't we, let's see, why don't I, we're at an hour. Why don't we go ahead and meet Heather, and we'll ask the questions that have come in about Heather, and then we can wrap up with the one or two questions. Will that work? Okay. All right, everyone. Well, this is Heather. She's coming to us from New Jersey. She's with her parents. I want to thank her dad, who's being videographer and cameraman.
Actually, it's me right now. So I don't know, this is Heather, and as pretty much normal, she's sound asleep.
4 years old.
So Heather is 41. She's got a lot of seizures, and that's probably why she's sleepy today. But I don't know if anybody has any questions, and I don't know what you wanted. I can't hear you, Paige.
Muted. Would you remind us how old Heather is, and can you tell us a little bit about her functional gross motor skills when she was little and how that's changed over the years? We'd love to know a little bit more about her.
Okay, so she is 41 now. We did not find out about Rett syndrome until she was just about 11. So her early stuff, was kind of like a lot of the girls' path. She developed normally for about a year. She walked at 2 years old and did walk independently, a little wide base gait and a little unsteady, but she got around. She could follow directions, kick a ball, pick up a Cheerio, pick up her cup. By around 12, 13 years old, her scoliosis started slowly. By 16 years old, we had the scoliosis surgery. And around that same time, her seizures were the worst. Between the age of like 12 to 13 to 15 years old, her seizures were really bad. And that's when she lost a lot of her physical ability. She was not able to walk anymore at that point. That's when we got her wheelchair around the same time as her scoliosis surgery, and she's been in the wheelchair pretty much ever since. At her day program, they do use her, put her in a stander. She's got to use knee immobilizers. I have them here. We don't do a stander at home because it's like takes 3 people and an army of you know, whatever, to get her out of the chair, in the leg braces, in the stander. So they, you know, they do that at the day program occasionally, I think, depending on how much staff they have. So that's kind of where we are. She's, you know, pretty comfortable most of the time. Right now, you can see she is leaning. We have a headrest on the side that holds her head up. It's kind of dark, but that, you know, her neck is always very tight on her right side. So she pulls down pretty hard on that side. Her arms are almost always flexed. And so as we try and get her arms to straighten out, same with her legs. She's, you know, in a wheelchair, she sits, you know, so her knees are pretty much at 90 degrees all the time. When I lay her in bed, she can straighten them out flat though. And she tolerated the stretching exercises with the lift pretty well. She didn't seem to mind that at all.
Right. Well, thank you. Oh, Heather, it's so nice to see you. And
Gonna wake up a little.
yeah, it's been my pleasure to know you for quite a while, and we really appreciate you letting us into your home and learning your story. And hello there.
She's sort of opening her eyes.
I know that's tough after seizures. So, you know, sometimes we have to just give some time and they'll come around. And Heather is a great example of someone who kind of runs on her own time clock.
Yes.
So we really appreciate the videos that you showed. Because again, you know, she got a lot of support at her day program. Right now she's home with you, not going to her day program. Usually you have help come into your home who can assist with all of this movement. But for you and Mike right now, doing the lifts, doing the stretches, and keeping up with your daily needs and is really a challenge. So you have gratefully and gracefully offered this story to say, okay, we don't want to leave Heather in her chair and her bed only. We want to do more for her, but you're limited in what you can do. So Meir has offered some great suggestions. And it took some work. It took some practice. But
figuring. We've got a couple of things we can do, and as I say, she tolerates it pretty well and sits pretty quietly during it. So it seems on the days that she's sleepier, she's actually more cooperative. When she's awake and, you know, you start pulling on her, she'll fight it a little bit. So her sleepy days are actually better for exercising.
yeah, that's definitely a theme we hear with our girls, right? That they do resist. And we have to do things to calm them down and work them through. So after the videos that Meir showed with us at the beginning, and after meeting Heather, we have a couple of questions that have come in. And I was wondering if I could share those questions and if we can work through some answers.
Okay.
And some suggestions. Okay. So this one I think is more directed at Meir, which is after watching the video of Heather having her arms lifted up, the question is how can you prevent Heather or their daughter from rounding her back to lessen the stretch? So you're bringing the arms up, but
I think we talked about it in previous presentations many times, and you have a lot of ways of preventing arching the back. It could be hydrotherapy and work on active activity of back muscles, but also with stretches that come in the wheelchair or leaning on a side of the sofa, or with this thing that I've built that keeps the hands over here. So you have a lot of actually, you do active and passive exercises. The passive exercises mainly to stretch the front part of the front muscles of the body, and the active exercise to get the back muscles activated. So you can do it with a different kind of sitting, knee sitting, half kneeling, knee standing, walking down a slope. There's a lot of ways to get activity of the back.
Thank you. And I think they were asking, specifically about watching Heather lift her arms in the wheelchair, and their daughter's also in the wheelchair. So,
If they're talking about the wheelchair, I mentioned in the lecture that if they move Heather's chair forward, then the stretch is more towards backwards, and then it stretches the arms backwards.
She doesn't arch her back, really.
It's a range of motion.
okay. And the next question is from a parent who's concerned about osteoporosis, and using the electric lift has power and will just keep moving. What are your thoughts about safety with range of motion with girls with low bone density and using the lift for these stretches?
I think that not moving is actually the more dangerous, not moving. And I think that moving first of all, every girl with Rett syndrome needs to be checked for bone density because of the tendency to have low bone density. So every girl should be checked. Aside from saying that, I think the movement, if you don't prepare the child, then you might get all kinds of very quick dystonic action, which might cause to fractures. But if you're telling the child what's going on, you're telling the child the way that her body is going to be moved, and you're actually doing it very slowly. And if it's something that you've done many times before, I think that you don't need to be afraid of moving the child. I think you need to be more afraid of her not moving at all. So moving the child is something very important for girls with Rett syndrome. Being in a state where they don't move for a long period of time actually makes them resist movement even more at later stages. So movement is very nice. And actually, Leslie have shown, they have, the Greenfield family have shown us that you actually can do many movement, very slow movement with the ceiling lift. So you can actually get the child to move in many directions when she's in bed or when she's in the wheelchair. So you can do a lot of very slow movement. And we saw earlier that when Leslie was doing it a bit, it kind of stretched Heather's leg, then Heather was showing that she's uncomfortable, and immediately Leslie took down the leg. So I think that if you are a parent, you know the signals that your child is sending, and it won't be a problem to you to react to those signals and do it right in the amount that the child can bear.
Great. Thank you. That's wonderful advice. And I think that we're hearing more and more and more therapists are doing teletherapy. So perhaps we would encourage you to share these recordings with your child's therapist. So especially these, if you're going to start using the lift to do stretches, perhaps your therapist could come in via webcam and watch, because they'll know more about the true status of your child and what's safe and what's not safe. And with Meir's insights and creative suggestions, hopefully some new therapy programs can be developed that are truly safe, right? Under the guidance of your child's physical therapist. Would you agree, Meir?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. But I know Leslie and Mike, you pretty much have earned your honorary PT degrees over time. So, okay, we have another one. Since Heather has had spinal fusion, I know, Meir, you've addressed this in quite a few of the sessions, but it's come up again about core strengthening core strengthening activities for children who have had spinal fusion. And what do you recommend if they're now maybe walking or not walking. Could you address that again, please, briefly?
I think that if you have a spinal surgery, then the movement of the trunk is like one block, but still you can have activity of the hips and legs, and you can't. I mean, you can't bend to the sides, but you can bend. You can slightly tilt your trunk. So activities like standing, walking, and sitting down, getting up, can still be performed. So I think that it's very important to try and get every child who has had a spinal surgery to go back to be on her feet again and walking again as much as possible, using a walker, using a treadmill, using a treadmill with a walker, using the ceiling lift, any way you can.
Okay, thanks. We've got 2 more questions in the Facebook comments that aren't specific, that aren't really in Heather's range. And so I'm wondering to give you a break so you don't have to keep holding the camera up. If we could put you on the spot for just a second, Leslie, to say
Okay.
how has it been? Have you learned some things from the advice that you've received from Meir that are helping you in this time? And do you have any message, being in the position that you're in with the New Jersey Rett Syndrome Association and being such a leader in our community, do you have any parting thoughts or words of encouragement for our families?
I just appreciate, that Meir has been so giving of his time for all of these videos these last several weeks. Lots of great information and ideas. As far as for Heather, I would have never thought about, hooking her arms up to lift them up and down and, just to leave them up there and stretch for a while. I'm not going to stand there for a while. So once they're up there, she can, sit for 5 minutes or whatever in one position where, I wouldn't be able to do that just standing there myself. So, a lot of the ideas that he gave us have been very helpful. And I think in general, there's something that everybody can do with simple things that they have at home. As I say, we tried several different things. We happen to have TheraBands in the house. They worked. We used scarves and belts and shirts and whatever else, and having your own therapist be able to contact you would be perfect. So as you said, that they would know each individual child better and have maybe some better ideas and suggestions of other things that they can do at home. But I think everybody hopefully can share Meir's videos with their own therapists and school programs. But thank you. I'm glad that we had this opportunity.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
For sharing your house and Heather and your time and doing all those experiments until we got it right.
We got it. We got it.
We got it. And she didn't complain too much. So that's a good sign. We'll check back in 3 months and we'll see how you guys are doing.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon, you guys.
All right,
All right. Thank you.
And Meir, stay on. We've got 2 more questions. We know we're getting to your dinner time, so we had a comment. So one of the parents really.
Well,
Okay, so there's a parent whose daughter has leg length difference, and they've already done modification with a lift in the shoe to get equal lift, but they're still having trouble getting her to do weight shifting. And even with the lift and the brace, it's still very hard. Do you have any suggestions?
I think it's very common. Girls with Rett syndrome find it very difficult to do weight shifts, and I don't think it relates to leg length or anything. So it's just a lot of practice. Maybe a balance board, maybe a vestibular plate, a lot of walking. So just practice. I don't think it relates to the leg difference. that they corrected. But it's good that they corrected the leg length because of connection of difference in leg length to development of scoliosis in some girls.
Great. Okay, that's wonderful. We've got 2 more questions. One is a parent who really liked how you took the AFOs and suggested nailing them to a board to make a modified standing situation. Would you suggest doing that and they're asking if you would suggest doing that same technique, but with a rocker bottom, with a rocking bottom?
Actually, the parents from Russia, actually, what they did, I didn't talk about it, but they actually put the ski boots on a rocker. So the child was standing inside, rocking from side to side. So it can be done. Yeah, it's another possibility that might work.
Okay, that's great. And I'll a little bit later today, I'll share in the comments a standing frame that we have for our daughter Katie, who's very low tone and doesn't weight bear at all, and will only help with transitions for 2 seconds with wearing AFOs. But we have a rocker that a standing frame that is spring loaded. And when she's in there, we can strengthen or release the tension. And when we get music going and we talk to her, she loves to go side to side because she's learned that she's not going to fall over. So she's getting great weight shifting, and I can be face to face. It's kind of a cool stander, but it would be something to, long term to look at procuring in your home. So I should have shared a video with you about that. Okay, I think the last question for you today is from a parent whose daughter injured her ankle in the past. And so she's still worried that the ankle is healing, but her daughter is ambulatory. So do you have any suggestions for how to continue helping her stay ambulatory and work through the healing of the injury?
I guess they should be in constant supervision of a physiotherapist and an orthopedic surgeon to make sure that she's not doing any more damage. They can use high shoes or AFOs to get the leg supported so she doesn't do any sudden moves that might cause this injury to reoccur. And then basically, if they walk a lot and they see that she's reacting or starting to limp or anything, then probably this is a sign that they should do it less. Walking in the swimming pool is an option because when you're in the water, there's elevation of the water prevents you from putting a lot of weights on the legs. So this is a kind of a safe way to walk even when you have problems in your legs. So all these are possibilities, but mainly make sure that everything is okay. I don't know if they need to, I don't know what the injury is, if they need to have an x-ray or just an ultrasound or another way of looking at it, or maybe just a physical examination to see that everything is okay.
Right. Of course, unless without knowing the child, it's a hard one to answer. But I love the suggestion of walking in a pool. I think that's safer and is a great transition to me sharing some of our future sessions. So I think that's the last question in the queue today. If anyone in the audience or watching the replay has additional questions for Meir, please put them into the Facebook comment page or email them to me. Dr. Lotan is not going anywhere. He's completely committed to his work. His research is ongoing. He's about to have a new book published. We can't wait for that to come out. We greatly appreciate you spending these number of weeks with us, Dr. Lotan. I think that you really got our community through a very difficult adjustment period. I think families are connecting with their personal providers again. And I think it would, these last month to month and a half would have been much more difficult if we hadn't had your support and inspiration to manage this time at home. And so we are very grateful for your intense support during this time, but your ongoing support as we move forward.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity to do something positive with my knowledge and to to help anyone who actually needs it. That's why I'm here.
We all
So
need
don't hesitate
We all
to
need you.
call
Well,
me.
thank you. Have a good evening. If things change and we have another topic come up that we haven't addressed, we'll reach out to you. If we have any more questions, we can just take care of it through email. Until then, have a break from your webcam.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Okay, everyone, I think that draws us towards the end of our presentation. I just wanted to share a few more announcements so you can know what is coming up with us at rettsyndrome.org. So we will be back with you on Monday via Facebook Live for some additional outtakes from the communication guidelines book that has been published with two of the multiple authors that wrote the new guidelines, Teresa Bartolotta and Jill Townend. They'll be with us on Monday, April 4th. If you have questions for them, go ahead and send them to us on our Facebook page, and we'll get them over to Jill and Teresa before they meet up with us again on Monday, April 4th, and that's at 2 p.m. New York time. On May 15th, we'll have our regularly scheduled Rett Ed Go-To webinar. And I think that'll be a nice chance for us to kind of get back to some science. And we'll be meeting with Dr. Allison Watry from the stem cell program at the University of California in San Diego. Most of us know him from Headline News. He is working with some incredible programs, sending mini brains into space and seeing the effects on that environment. And I think it would give us all a nice break from our current discussions to look to the future and see what is happening with our labs and with our scientists in this space. So please, that one you do need to register for. There's no fee, but you need to register. It will not be Facebook Live. Then on May 26th, we will be back Facebook Live, and that's a Friday. I'm sorry. It's a Tuesday, May 26th at 2 p.m. New York time to look at ideas for modified aquatherapy at home. We're very excited to do this with Brianna Zerwinski, who's the physical therapist with the Kennedy Krieger Rett Clinic, and her specialization is aquatherapy. So she's going to do some Facebook Zoom in with a couple of families who are living in warmer parts of the country and are starting to use their pool. Colder parts of the country where things haven't warmed up and they're using hot tubs, or some things to do in a jetted tub, all kinds of different ways that you can use aquatherapy safely, some just ideas that you can do yourself.